Hey class, here is a problem that deals with probability when it comes to a two-way table. You'll see these in sections 3.2 and 3.3. So they typically deal with two variables. So we have sex versus how often you smoke. So if we just run through some of these questions, it might help some folks. So the first one is, find the probability that a randomly selected student is a non-smoker. Okay, so if we randomly select a student, notice there's a total of 418 students. We just need to figure out how many of them are non-smokers, and that total is given here. So this one is your kind of basic probability. We would just go 322 divided by 418. And then typically on these, I would probably just calculate it as a decimal rounded to 3 decimal places. So if we do this one, I'm getting about 0.770. So that's what I would do for that one. Okay. The next one is a little more going on because it has that word "and" in it. So it says, find the probability that a randomly selected student is both female and a heavy smoker. If it's a two-way table, you should be able to find that number in the cells of the table. Again, we're selecting from 418, so I know that's my bottom number, my denominator. And then I just have to locate, okay, how many students are both female and heavy smoker? So that will be this number right there, right? Heavy smoker and female. There's 12 of them. So for that one, I'm just gonna do 12 divided by 418. And 12 divided by 418. 0.021. 0.021. Cool. Okay. This is something you would see in 3.2, the "and" probabilities. You might have noticed there's a multiplication rule for that, but you don't need the multiplication rule if you have that two-way table. You can just find the number right in the table itself. Okay, for conditional probability, find the probability that a student is a regular smoker, given that, there's kind of the key word there, given that a randomly selected student is male. That means you're only selecting from the male students. You already know, you have the condition that the student is male. So I would look on my table to find the total number of male students. There it is, 198. There's your denominator. And then of those students, how many of them are regular smokers? So just stay right in this row to find your other number. So of the 198, there are 58 regular smokers. Right? So that probability would be 58 divided by 198. And my font changed for some reason. Okay, whatever. 58 divided by 198. Oh, a lot of 2 nines. Okay, 0.293, let's go with. Okay. So those can kind of throw you because of the wording, but look for that key phrase given that, and then you know to change your denominator to whatever the description of the given that is. Whoa, that big arrow. Okay. The next three have to deal with the addition rule. And the addition rule, it's good to stick with the formula for these. So there's your formula. It's basically an addition. Addition rule is OR probabilities. OR translates to addition, but you have this piece. You have to subtract off and you overlap. That's what that basically means. So let's look at an example. Find the probability that a randomly selected student is a non-smoker or a heavy smoker. Okay, so first we need to find the probability that the student is a non-smoker. There's 322 non-smokers out of a total of 418. Okay, so there's my first probability, 322 divided by 418. Okay, so that's kind of like your probability of A, and then plus, or I'm thinking plus, probability that they're a heavy smoker. Heavy smoker, 17 out of 418. 17 divided by 418. Now you have this minus piece. This is where you have to ask yourself, is there anything, or are there any students that could be in both categories, right? So we have non-smokers and heavy smokers, there's no overlap, right? Either you're in the heavy smoker category or you're in the non-smoker category. Nobody's in both. So I don't have to subtract off anything, or I can even think of that as -0. Right? And then I just do the calculation, right? So I'm doing 322 plus 17. Right? So it's 339. 39 divided by 418, common denominator. And that's 0.811. Okay, next one. We have the probability that a randomly selected student is male or a heavy smoker. Okay, so just take it piece by piece. What's the probability that a student is male? There's 198 total males out of 418 total students. That's 198 divided by 418. All right, we're back to the font. It's on the page. Interesting. Now that's, okay, there's your probability of A, right? Plus is the or probability of B, the probability that a student is a heavy smoker. Okay, probability that a student is a heavy smoker. Go for your totals. Total of 17 heavy smokers divided by 418. Right? Okay. Next part is this minus piece, right? So I have to ask myself, are there any students that are both male and heavy smokers? And there are on this one, right? You can be a male and a heavy smoker. Male, heavy smoker, 5 of them. What that means is on these two counts, you double counted, right? Because the male students that are heavy smokers, you counted them in both of these, right? You double counted those students. So you have to subtract off to account for that. So it's going to be 5 divided by 418 for the overlap. That's the key on those, right? Adding the two categories and then subtracting the overlap. And then now we can just do the calculation. So 198 plus 17 minus 5, that's 210. And then I'll get my little decimal. I'm getting 0.502. Okay, that looks good. All right, one more. Let's try this one. Probability that a selected student is male or not a heavy smoker. Sorry, typo. Male or not a heavy smoker. Ooh, tricky. Okay, so first male, that's the 198 over 418, right? Total male of the grand total, plus not a heavy smoker. Okay, gotta go to my table here. How many students are not heavy smokers? Well, there's 17 heavy smokers. So that would be this one or that one, right? Those two, right? 322 non-smokers and 79 regular smokers. So I kind of got to add those together. Well, not kind of, but I do, right? 322 plus 79 over the 418. Okay. Now, are there any overlaps? Did we double count anybody? So I have to go with, that's this piece, the and. Is there any students that are both male and not a heavy smoker? Male and not heavy are these two, right? Male and non-smoker, male and regular smoker. So I'm gonna have to subtract off those two. So thinking about adding those up, 5 plus 58, right? Over the 418. Okay, does that make any sense? So I've got male plus not a heavy smoker, and then minus any double counting I did, right? Double counted a lot of people there, all those that were both male and not heavy smokers. Okay, and now I'm just gonna work out my calculations here. So what am I doing? I'm doing 198 plus 322 plus 79. And I gotta subtract 135 and subtract a 58. I should be wearing my glasses. Okay, so that is 406 over the 418. So double check that, right? So I'm doing 198 plus 322 plus 79, okay? And then I'm subtracting off the 135 plus 58, which is 193. So subtract off that 193 to get a total of 406, okay? And so it seems like it's mostly everybody. Mostly everybody is either male or not a heavy smoker here, right? 406 divided by 418, 0.971. All right. And that's that. If you have any questions on this, let me know. I'll post this, and then I'll also post this handout if you want to practice with it. Okay, hope that helped. Bye.